Indian law prevails for persons subject to FERA. Foreign legality is irrelevant. 409. Does FERA permit conditional immunity for cooperation? No statutory immunity. Cooperation may help only in penalty mitigation or compounding. 410. Can adjudicating authority rely on probabilities over strict proof? Yes. Preponderance of probabilities governs adjudication. Criminal trial requires higher proof. 411. Can accused invoke equality clause due to different treatment of others? No automatic relief. Negative equality is not recognized. Each case depends on facts. 412. Can it proceed even if transaction is time-barred under other laws? Yes. FERA has no strict limitation period. Other statutes' limitation does not control FERA. 413. Does FERA allow defense of industry-wide non-compliance? No. Widespread violation does not legalize illegality. 414. Can it rely on admissions in tax proceedings? Yes. Admissions before tax authorities can be used as corroborative evidence. 415. Does subsequent regularization under FEMA help old FERA cases? No. FERA violations stand frozen in time. FEMA benefits are prospective only under Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. 416. Can it initiate parallel proceedings against multiple group entities? Yes. Group companies may be proceeded against separately. Lifting of corporate veil is permitted. 417. Is no loss to exchequer a valid defense? No. Loss or gain is irrelevant. Control violation itself is punishable. 418. Can it rely on circumstantial evidence alone? Yes. If circumstances form a complete chain. Direct evidence is not mandatory. 419. Does FERA permit retrospective enhancement of penalty? No. Penalties are governed by law at time of offense. 420. What is the final safest MCQ assumption at the highest level? Whenever permission is doubtful, liability is certain. 421. What is the absolute final doctrine of FERA? One sentence. FERA enforced a criminal, permission-based foreign exchange control regime where contravention, not intention, determined guilt, and repeal preserved all past liabilities. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 26. 422. Can it rely on third-party statements without examining them in adjudication? Yes, in limited circumstances. Third-party statements can be relied upon if corroborated by documents. If reliance is decisive, opportunity to rebut must be given. 423. Does FERA recognize control without physical possession of forex? Yes. Control, dominion, or power to direct use is sufficient. Physical custody is not mandatory. 424. Can it initiate proceedings where forex is parked in offshore trusts? Yes. Offshore trusts do not shield beneficial owners. Substance over form principle applies. 425. Can accused claim defense of internal company miscommunication? No. Internal lapses do not excuse statutory violation. Company and responsible officers remain liable. 426. Does FERA permit cumulative penalties for multiple contraventions in one transaction? Yes. multiple breaches of different provisions, can attract separate penalties subject to fairness. 427. Can it proceed if transaction was routed through authorized dealer but violated conditions? Yes. Authorized dealer routing does not cure violation. Breach of conditions independent contravention. 428. Is proof of knowledge required for vicarious liability of directors? No. Persons in charge are deemed liable. Burden lies on them to prove due diligence or lack of knowledge. 429. Can adjudicating authority rely on past conduct to infer present contravention? Yes. Past similar conduct may establish pattern or intent, especially relevant for penalty assessment. 430. Does FERA allow defense based on later RBI clarifications? No. Clarifications are prospective. Past violations remain unaffected. 431. Can it rely on foreign court records or proceedings? Yes. Foreign records are admissible if legally obtained, used as corroborative evidence. 432. Can accused invoke Article 20(1) against saved FERA proceedings? No. Saved proceedings apply law existing at time of offense. No retrospective punishment involved. 433. Does acquittal due to hostile witnesses affect adjudication? No. Adjudication relies on documentary and circumstantial evidence. Criminal acquittal does not nullify penalty. 434. Can it proceed if forex was never actually utilized? Yes. Attempt, arrangement, or possession suffices. Utilization is irrelevant. 435. Does FERA recognize mitigation for voluntary repatriation before detection? May influence penalty quantum. Does not wipe out liability. 436. Can it rely on banking software logs and internal system records? Yes. Treated as reliable electronic evidence. Frequently used in legacy cases. 437. Can accused plead ambiguity in RBI permission wording? Rarely accepted. Ambiguity is resolved against the accused. Permission must be clear and strictly followed. 438. Does FERA recognize the minimis principle? No. Even small amounts can attract liability. Amount affects penalty, not offense. 439. Can it attach substitute assets if forex is untraceable? Yes. To secure recovery of penalty. Subject to legal safeguards. 440. What is the examiner's ultra-safe fallback rule at this level? If RBI permission is imperfect, incomplete, or unprovable contravention exists. 441. Final memory lock for Section 26. Under FERA, control and permission matter, intent and convenience do not. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 27. 442. Can it rely on presumptions even when documentary evidence is incomplete? Yes. Statutory presumptions under FERA can operate with partial documentation. Burden then shifts to the accused to explain gaps. 443. Does FERA recognize constructive receipt of foreign exchange? Yes. Right to receive or control foreign exchange amounts to receipt. Actual physical receipt is not mandatory. 444. Can it proceed against shadow directors or persons exercising de facto control? Yes. De facto control attracts liability. Formal designation is not required. 445. Is routing through multiple authorized dealers a defense? No. Multiple ads do not sanitize illegality. Violation of conditions remains punishable. 446. Can it rely on seized drafts, instructions, or unsigned agreements? Yes. Preparatory documents can establish attempt or arrangement. Frequently decisive in adjudication. 447. Does FERA permit penalty where forex is held outside India by resident? Yes. Holding forex abroad without permission is a clear contravention. Applies even if funds are disclosed elsewhere. 448. Can accused plead absence of RBI monitoring as defense? No. Failure of regulator to detect earlier does not legalize the act. 449. Is there any safe harbor for bona fide exporters under FERA? No statutory safe harbor. Bona fides may affect penalty quantum, not liability. 450. Can it rely on cumulative inference from multiple weak indicators? Yes. Cumulative effect of circumstances may prove contravention. Each indicator need not be conclusive alone. 451. Does FERA recognize compliance by delegation within companies? No. Statutory responsibility cannot be delegated away. Officers in charge remain liable. 452. Can it rely on internal audit reports of accused entity? Yes. Internal audits are admissions against interest. Strong corroborative value. 453. Can it proceed where forex transaction was reversed later? Yes. Reversal does not erase initial contravention. 454. Is proof of profit or benefit necessary to impose penalty? No. Benefit is irrelevant. Contravention itself triggers penalty. 455. Can it proceed if funds were routed through family members' accounts? Yes. Use of relatives is treated as aggravating camouflage. 456. Does FERA allow reliance on inference from lifestyle or expenditure? Yes. Disproportionate lifestyle can corroborate forex violations. 457. Can accused claim industry practice as mitigating factor? Rarely. Industry practice cannot override law. 458. Does FERA permit penalty enhancement for repeat patterns across years? Yes. Past contraventions can justify enhanced penalties. 459. Can it proceed where permission exists but conditions are breached marginally? Yes. Any breach, even marginal, constitutes contravention. 460. What is the examiner's safest last-ditch elimination rule, FERA? Eliminate any option suggesting liberal relief, automatic cure by later compliance, essential requirement of mens rea. 461. Final memory lock for Section 27. Under FERA, permission must be perfect. Anything less invites liability. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 28. 462. Can it rely on statistical anomalies or unusual patterns to infer contravention? Yes. Unusual transaction patterns, frequency, or value anomalies can support reasonable belief. Especially relevant where direct proof is fragmented. 463. Does FERA recognize indirect benefit as sufficient linkage? Yes. Indirect benefit or control over foreign exchange is enough. Direct receipt is not essential. 464. Can it proceed against consultants or intermediaries who structured the deal? Yes. Active facilitators or bettors are liable. Design and structuring assistance can amount to abetment. 465. Is RBI permission presumed valid forever once granted? No. Permission is conditional and revocable. Must be complied with throughout its currency. 466. Can accused plead compliance with another regulator, SEBI income tax, as defense? No. Compliance under another law does not cure FERA contravention. Each statute operates independently. 467. Does FERA allow aggregation of penalties across different years? Yes. Separate contraventions across years can attract separate penalties. Past conduct may aggravate quantum. 468. Can it rely on managerial emails approvals to fix vicarious liability? Yes. Emails, approvals, meeting notes can prove knowledge and control. Frequently decisive against senior management. 469. Is foreign exchange earmarked but not transferred still covered? Yes. Earmarking or setting aside foreign exchange without permission is actionable. Control is the key test. 470. Can it proceed where transaction is split to avoid limits? Yes. Splitting to evade thresholds is treated as intentional circumvention. Substance over form applies. 471. Does FERA recognize defense of bank error if transaction cleared by bank? No absolute defense. Banks act as authorized dealers, but ultimate liability remains with the person. 472. Can it rely on admissions made in arbitration or civil suits? Yes. Admissions in other proceedings can be used as corroborative evidence. 473. Does FERA allow confiscation of instruments used for contravention? Yes. Instruments, documents, or devices used can be confiscated. Subject to adjudication order. 474. Can accused invoke proportionality where penalty equals multiple of amount? Rarely successful. Courts defer to legislative deterrence policy. Interference only if shockingly disproportionate. 475. Can it rely on delayed discovery to explain late initiation? Yes. Discovery date, not transaction date, explains delay. Common in layered or offshore cases. 476. Does FERA recognize compliance culture as mitigating factor? Marginally. May reduce penalty quantum. Does not negate liability. 477. Can it proceed if forex is held in joint accounts? Yes. Joint control suffices. Each controller may be proceeded against. 478. Can accused plead impossibility of compliance due to foreign law? No. Indian law prevails for persons subject to FERA. Foreign constraints are irrelevant. 479. Does FERA permit reliance on whistleblower material? Yes. If corroborated. Can trigger investigation and reasonable belief. 480. What is the examiner's ultra-safe elimination rule, Section 28? Eliminate any option suggesting bank approval, later reversal, or good faith as complete defenses. 481. Final memory lock for Section 28. Under FERA, control plus permission decide legality. Everything else is secondary. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 29. 482. Can add infer contravention from unexplained foreign travel expenditure? Yes. Unexplained foreign travel or expenses abroad can corroborate unauthorized forex use. Burden shifts to accused to explain lawful source. 483. Does FERA recognize economic substance over legal form? Yes. Courts apply substance over form. Artificial structuring does not defeat liability. 484. Can it proceed where foreign exchange is held through nominees? Yes. Nominee arrangements do not shield the real beneficiary. Beneficial owner is liable. 485. Is routing through foreign subsidiaries a defense? No. Indian residents' companies remain liable. Offshore subsidiaries do not break the compliance chain. 486. Can it rely on unexplained delay in repatriation alone? Yes. Failure to repatriate within prescribed time is itself a contravention. Subsequent realization does not erase offense. 487. Does FERA allow confiscation of interest or accretions on forex? Yes. Interest, accretions, or gains arising from contravention are also liable. 488. Can it proceed if forex was utilized for lawful purpose but without permission? Yes. Purpose is irrelevant. Absence of permission establishes contravention. 489. Can accused plead reliance on past departmental inaction? No. No estoppel against statute. Prior inaction does not legalize violation. 490. Does FERA permit reliance on pattern of small value transactions? Yes. Smurfing splitting to avoid limits is treated as evasion. Aggregate view is adopted. 491. Can it rely on foreign remittance instructions never executed? Yes. Attempt or arrangement suffices. Execution is not mandatory. 492. Does FERA recognize mitigation for self-reporting after violation? Limited. May reduce penalty quantum. Liability remains intact. 493. Can it rely on bank compliance reports filed late? Yes. Late or deficient reporting can support inference of contravention. 494. Is forex parked in escrow accounts covered under FERA? Yes. Control or beneficial interest in escrow amounts attracts FERA. Permission is required. 495. Can it proceed if forex is received as reimbursement from abroad? Yes. Reimbursements still constitute foreign exchange receipts. Must comply with permission norms. 496. Does FERA allow defense of temporary accommodation of funds? No. Temporary holding without permission is still an offense. 497. Can it rely on statements of accountants or compliance officers? Yes. Statements of persons handling accounts compliance are highly relevant. 498. Does FERA permit enhancement of penalty based on concealment methods? Yes. Sophisticated concealment aggravates penalty. 499. Can it proceed where forex is held in digital or non-traditional forms? Yes. Any store of value representing foreign exchange falls within control regime. 500. What is the examiner's final ultra-safe rule? Section 29. If foreign exchange is controlled, held, or arranged without provable RBI permission, FERA liability is complete. 501. Final memory lock for Section 29. Under FERA, permission is everything. Form, purpose, and intention are nothing. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 30. 502. Can it proceed where forex transaction was cancelled before execution? Yes. Attempt or arrangement itself constitutes contravention. Cancellation does not wipe out liability. 503. Does FERA recognize constructive control through instructions or mandates? Yes. Power to direct use or transfer amounts to control. Physical custody is unnecessary. 504. Can it rely on internal approval chains to establish culpability? Yes. Internal notes, approvals, board minutes. Establish knowledge, consent, or connivance. 505. Is foreign exchange held in suspense or clearing accounts covered? Yes. Suspense clearing balances still represent foreign exchange. Permission requirements apply. 506. Can it proceed where forex is netted off against receivables payables? Yes. Netting adjustment without permission is a contravention. Actual remittance is not required. 507. Does FERA allow defense of no monetary impact on India? No. Impact is irrelevant. Control and permission are decisive. 508. Can it rely on correspondence with foreign counterparties? Yes. Emails, letters, telex, SWIFT messages. Strong evidence of arrangement or attempt. 509. Does FERA recognize partial permission as compliance? No. Permission must be complete and strictly followed. Any excess separate offense. 510. Can it proceed where forex is held in pooled or omnibus accounts? Yes. Beneficial interest control triggers liability. Pooled structures do not shield responsibility. 511. Can it rely on circumstantial chain without direct forex proof? Yes. Complete chain of circumstances is sufficient. Direct proof is not mandatory. 512. Does FERA permit enhancement of penalty for obstruction or non-cooperation? Yes. Non-cooperation is an aggravating factor. Can increase penalty quantum. 513. Can accused invoke reasonable cause to avoid penalty entirely? Rarely. At best, it may mitigate penalty. Liability generally remains. 514. Is bank routing conclusive proof of legality? No. Banks are authorized dealers. Ultimate responsibility remains with the person entity. 515. Can it proceed where forex is parked as security collateral abroad? Yes. Pledging charging forex without permission is covered. Control test applies. 516. Does FERA recognize defense of internal compliance lapse? No. Internal failures do not excuse statutory breach. 517. Can ED rely on admissions in settlement negotiations? Yes, if voluntary and recorded. Such admissions can be corroborative evidence. 518. What is the examiner's ultimate elimination rule? Section 30. Eliminate any option suggesting good faith, bank approval, or later correction as a complete defense. 519. One-line final doctrine for FERA, ultimate. FERA punished unauthorized control, holding, or arrangement of foreign exchange through a strict, criminal, permission-based regime. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 31. 521. Can it proceed if Forex is routed through barter or counter-trade arrangements? Yes. Barter counter-trade affecting Forex value requires permission. Absence of RBI approval contravention. 522. Does FERA cover advance payments or deposits received from abroad? Yes. Advances deposits are foreign exchange receipts. Must be authorized and reported as prescribed. 523. Can it rely on board resolutions to fix liability of directors? Yes. Board resolutions minutes show knowledge and consent. Strong basis for vicarious liability. 524. Is hedging or forward cover without permission actionable under FERA? Yes. Unauthorized hedging forwards constitute contravention. Permission and compliance with conditions are mandatory. 525. Can it proceed where Forex is settled by book adjustment only? Yes. Book adjustments netting without permission are covered. Physical remittance is not necessary. 526. Does FERA recognize defense of clerical mistake by bank? No complete defense. Bank error may mitigate penalty. Primary liability remains with the transacting person. 527. Can it rely on circumstantial evidence of control through emails IMs? Yes. Electronic communications establish control, arrangement, or attempt. Admissible subject to law. 528. Is foreign exchange held for short duration exempt? No. Duration is irrelevant. Any unauthorized holding attracts liability. 529. Can it proceed where Forex is received as damages compensation? Yes. Compensation damages are foreign exchange receipts. Permission reporting norms apply. 530. Does FERA allow defense of commercial urgency? No. Urgency or business necessity cannot override statute. 531. Can it rely on internal compliance manuals to infer knowledge? Yes. Manuals training records show awareness of obligations. Useful to negate claims of ignorance. 532. Is Forex parked with overseas affiliates treated differently? No. Overseas affiliates do not dilute liability. Control beneficial interest test applies. 533. Can it proceed where Forex is pledged to foreign lenders? Yes. Pledge charge over Forex without permission is actionable. 534. Does FERA permit penalty enhancement for concealment or falsification? Yes. Concealment falsification aggravates penalty quantum. 535. Can it rely on admissions made during compounding talks? Yes, if voluntary and recorded. Can be corroborative evidence where legally permissible. 536. Is no remittance actually occurred a valid defense? No. Attempt arrangement control suffices for contravention. 537. Can it proceed where Forex is credited to suspense pending approval? Yes. Suspense credit still represents forex control. Permission required. 538. Does FERA recognize partial compliance as sufficient? No. Strict compliance is mandatory. Any deviation contravention. 539. Can it proceed if forex is routed through multi-layer escrow? Yes. Layering does not defeat liability. Substance over form applies. 540. Examiner's safest last mile rule. Section 31. If RBI permission is not clear, specific, and provable, assume contravention. 541. Final memory lock for Section 31. Under FERA, permission must precede the transaction always. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 32. 542. Can it proceed where forex transaction was proposed but not approved internally? Yes. Proposal plus steps taken can amount to attempt. Internal rejection does not always erase liability. 543. Does FERA recognize control through veto rights as liability? Yes. Veto or decisive influence over forex use equals control. Formal ownership is not required. 544. Can it rely on spreadsheets, working papers, or draft accounting entries? Yes. Drafts and working papers can prove arrangement or attempt. Strong corroborative value. 545. Is foreign exchange received in kind, services set off, covered? Yes. Value in foreign exchange terms is relevant. Set-offs without permission are actionable. 546. Can it proceed where forex is held by JV partner abroad? Yes. Beneficial interest control of Indian entity attracts FERA. JV structure does not shield liability. 547. Does FERA allow defense of bank cleared it, so it's legal? No. Bank clearance RBI permission. Ultimate responsibility remains with the transactor. 548. Can it rely on communications showing intent to circumvent limits? Yes. Intent to circumvent supports inference of contravention, especially relevant for penalty enhancement. 549. Is forex received as royalty fees covered under FERA? Yes. Royalties fees are foreign exchange receipts. Must comply with permission reporting norms. 550. Can it proceed where forex is temporarily routed for testing validation? Yes. Temporary routing without permission is still unauthorized holding. 551. Does FERA recognize defense of no personal benefit? No. Personal benefit is irrelevant. Control arrangement is enough. 552. Can it rely on management KPIs targets linked to forex inflows? Yes. KPIs targets can evidence knowledge and control. Useful for vicarious liability. 553. Is foreign exchange in transit exempt? No automatic exemption. Transit with control beneficial interest requires permission. 554. Can it proceed where forex is credited to overseas wallet or prepaid instrument? Yes. Digital prepaid instruments representing forex are covered. 555. Does FERA allow penalty mitigation for immediate rectification? Limited. Rectification may reduce quantum. Does not nullify offense. 556. Can it rely on industry advisories ignored by accused? Yes. Ignored advisories can show recklessness knowledge. 557. Is first-time violation a defense? No. May affect penalty only, not liability. 558. Can it proceed if forex is netted off through clearing houses? Yes. Clearing netting without permission is covered. 559. Examiner's Ultrasafe Micro MCQ Rule, Section 32. Whenever you see words like good faith, bank approval, later correction, reject the option. 560. One line ultimate doctrine, final. FERA criminalized unauthorized control, holding, or arrangement of foreign exchange through strict, permission-first compliance, and repeal preserved all past liabilities. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 33. 561. Can it rely on draft contracts or unsigned moves to establish contravention? Yes. Drafts moves can prove arrangement or attempt. Signature is not mandatory if intent and steps are shown. 562. Does FERA apply to forex transactions routed through clearing members or brokers? Yes. Intermediary routing does not dilute liability. Control and beneficial interest remain decisive. 563. Can it proceed where forex is adjusted against future obligations? Yes. Adjustment set-off of future dues without permission is a contravention. Actual payment timing is irrelevant. 564. Is internal approval but no RBI approval sufficient compliance? No. Internal approvals cannot substitute RBI permission. Examine a favorite trap. 565. Can ED rely on WhatsApp instant messages in FERA cases? Yes. Digital messages are admissible. Useful to establish knowledge, control, or evasion. 566. Does FERA recognize group treasury arrangements as exemption? No. Group treasury netting without permission is actionable. Group structure gives no immunity. 567. Can it proceed where forex is parked in foreign mutual funds or instruments? Yes. Investment abroad without permission is a contravention. Form of asset is irrelevant. 568. Is foreign exchange received as capital contribution covered? Yes. Capital inflow is still foreign exchange receipt. Must comply with permission conditions. 569. Can it rely on unexplained foreign credit card usage? Yes. Unauthorized foreign card spends can indicate illegal forex use. Burden shifts to accused. 570. Does FERA allow defense of transaction permitted under FEMA today? No. FERA applies as on date of offense. FEMA liberalization is irrelevant. 571. Can it proceed if forex was used for personal emergencies? Yes. Personal necessity does not excuse contravention. 572. Is RBI post-event clarification a defense? No. Clarifications are prospective. Past acts remain punishable. 573. Can it rely on mismatch between invoices and remittances? Yes. Invoice-remittance mismatch strongly indicates contravention. Common export-import case trigger. 574. Does FERA recognize bank allowed it as estoppel? No. No estoppel against statute. Bank conduct cannot legalize illegality. 575. Can it proceed where Forex is held in foreign e-wallets apps? Yes. Digital wallets holding Forex fall within control regime. Permission is mandatory. 576. Is ignorance of complex RBI procedure a defense? No. Complexity does not excuse non-compliance. 577. Can it rely on repeated small deviations to infer willfulness? Yes. Pattern of conduct can justify higher penalty. 578. Does FERA permit confiscation even if penalty is paid? Yes. Confiscation and penalty are independent consequences. 579. Can it proceed where Forex is credited then immediately reversed? Yes. Momentary unauthorized holding completes offense. 580. Examiner's safest elimination rule. Section 33. Eliminate any option suggesting later FEMA benefit, bank approval, or good faith as a complete defense. 581. Final memory lock for Section 33. Under FERA, timing and permission matter, everything else is noise. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 34. 582. Can an info contravention from unexplained foreign remittances received via third parties? Yes. Third-party routing does not dilute liability. Beneficial receipt control is decisive. 583. Does FERA recognize economic equivalence even if no Forex moved? Yes. Economic equivalence value transfer triggers control. Physical movement is not mandatory. 584. Can it proceed where Forex exposure is created through derivatives without settlement? Yes. Creation of exposure control without permission is actionable. Settlement is irrelevant. 585. Is RBI approval required for cancellation refund of Forex transactions? Yes, if rules so require. Unauthorized refunds cancellations can be contraventions. 586. Can it rely on internal risk reports highlighting Forex non-compliance? Yes. Internal risk compliance reports are admissions against interest. 587. Does FERA allow confiscation of proceeds indirectly linked to Forex violation? Yes. Indirect proceeds traceable to contravention can be confiscated. 588. Can it proceed where Forex is locked as margin security abroad? Yes. Margin security abroad involves control. Permission is mandatory. 589. Does FERA recognize net worth neutrality as defense? No. Net worth impact is irrelevant. 590. Can it rely on unexplained Forex gains during currency fluctuation? Yes. Unexplained gains corroborate unauthorized holding control. 591. Does FERA allow defense of transaction reversed same day? No. Momentary contravention completes offense. 592. Can it proceed where Forex is pledged to overseas exchanges platforms? Yes. Pledge charge abroad without permission is actionable. 593. Is absence of RBI objection earlier a defense? No. No estoppel against statute. 594. Can it rely on compliance gap analysis reports? Yes. Gap analysis reports establish knowledge and neglect. 595. Does FERA permit enhancement of penalty for sophisticated evasion methods? Yes. Layering, splitting, offshore routing aggravate penalty. 596. Can it proceed if forex is held through custodians or nominees abroad? Yes. Custodial nominee structures do not shield liability. 597. Examiner's ultimate kill point. Section 34. If an option suggests equity, hardship, good faith, or later liberalization, reject it. 598. One-line final doctrine. Section 34. FERA punished unauthorized control or economic equivalence of foreign exchange strictly, criminally, and without mercy for intent or convenience. 599. Final absolute memory seal. Permission first, everything else later. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 35. 601. If two interpretations of a FERA provision are possible, which one applies? The interpretation that furthers control of foreign exchange. Liberal interpretation is rejected. 602. Can it proceed if the accused proves no intention to violate the law? Yes. Intention is irrelevant for establishing contravention. Only compliance with permission matters. 603. Does silence of RBI after disclosure amount to approval? No. Silence consent. Approval must be express and provable. 604. Can it rely on circumstantial economic indicators without direct linkage? Yes, if indicators form a coherent and complete chain. Accused fails to rebut presumptions. 605. Can it proceed where forex value is embedded in non-monetary consideration? Yes. Embedded value transfer attracts FERA. Form of consideration is irrelevant. 606. Does FERA allow defense of transaction was revenue neutral? No. Revenue impact is irrelevant. Control breach alone is punishable. 607. Can it rely on contradictions in accused's explanations? Yes. Inconsistent explanations strengthen presumptions. Silence or evasiveness aggravates liability. 608. Is partial compliance ever sufficient under FERA? No. Strict, total compliance is mandatory. Partial compliance contravention. 609. Can it proceed where forex is controlled through contractual rights only? Yes. Contractual control right to direct equals control. Actual possession not required. 610. Does FERA recognize mitigation based on subsequent lawful conduct? No. Subsequent compliance does not erase past offense. May marginally affect penalty only. 611. Can it rely on probability-based reasoning in adjudication? Yes. Preponderance of probabilities governs adjudication. Criminal trial requires higher standard. 612. Can it rely on admissions made casually or informally? Yes, if voluntary. Even informal admissions can be corroborative evidence. 613. Does FERA permit defense of law was later changed? No. Law at the time of offense applies. FEMA liberalization is irrelevant. 614. Can it proceed if forex is retained abroad temporarily for convenience? Yes. Convenience is no defense. Temporary retention still violates control. 615. Examiner's hardest MCQ trap at this level. Because FEMA is liberal, courts should interpret FERA liberally. Always false. 616. One-line elimination mantra, Section 35. If an option favors the accused on equity, intention, hardship, or later law, eliminate it. 617. Ultimate 7-word FERA memory lock. Permission first, control absolute, intent irrelevant. 618. Absolute final doctrinal statement. FERA represents India's strictest economic control regime, where legality depended solely on prior permission and complete compliance, and repeal never diluted past liability. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 36. 619. Does FERA favor substance over procedural technicalities? Yes. Substantive contravention, procedural lapses. Minor procedural defects rarely defeat proceedings. 620. Can it rely on adverse inference from non-production of records? Yes. Withholding records permits adverse inference. Burden lies on the person obligated to maintain them. 621. Is strict construction applied in favor of the accused under FERA? No. Though penal, FERA is construed to advance its object, not liberally in favor of the accused. 622. Can it rely on presumption even when amount involved is small? Yes. Quantum is irrelevant for liability. Only affects penalty scale. 623. Does FERA recognize business efficiency or cost saving as defense? No. Economic convenience has zero legal value under FERA. 624. Can it proceed where forex was never booked in accounts? Yes. Non-accounting aggravates liability, often treated as concealment. 625. Can accused seek benefit of doubt like ordinary criminal law? Very limited. Due to reverse burden, benefit of doubt is narrow. 626. Does FERA tolerate compliance through informal channels? No. Only formal RBI permission counts. Informal approvals understandings are meaningless. 627. Can it rely on overall conduct of the accused? Yes. Overall conduct and pattern may justify inference and higher penalty. 628. What is the safest answer when confused in a FERA MCQ? Choose the option that is more restrictive, more prosecution-oriented, less intent-based. 629. Absolute last 5-word exam mantra. Permission absent, offense complete. 630. Final one-line closure. FERA was a strict, criminal, permission-centric foreign exchange control law where contravention, not intention, decided guilt, and repeal never diluted past liability. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 37. 631. Is FERA primarily a fiscal law or a regulatory penal law? FERA is a regulatory penal law. Objective: control and conservation of foreign exchange. Revenue collection is incidental, not primary. 632. Can FERA provisions be diluted by equity, hardship, or proportional justice? No. Equity cannot override statute. Courts consistently prioritized economic control. 633. Does FERA follow the rule actus non facitrium nisi mens citri? No. FERA is an exception. Act alone, contravention, is sufficient. 634. Is FERA closer in philosophy to customs law or IPC? Closer to customs economic control laws, not IPC. Focus on regulation, deterrence, and national interest. 635. Can administrative circulars soften statutory rigor of FERA? No. Circulars can clarify, not relax statutory prohibitions. 636. Does FERA treat compliance as a right or a duty? A strict duty. No discretion with the regulated person. Permission must exist before action. 637. Can it use FERA proceedings to compel disclosure of information? Yes. Compulsory disclosure powers are central to enforcement. Non-cooperation itself attracts consequences. 638. Does FERA allow judicial creativity in interpretation? Very limited. Courts follow text plus object, not creativity. Policy wisdom is left to Parliament. 639. Is FERA enforcement adversarial or inquisitorial in nature? Primarily inquisitorial. Enforcement agencies actively investigate. Accused must explain legality. 640. Can silence of the accused ever help under FERA? No. Silence strengthens presumptions. Burden lies on accused to rebut. 641. What is the single biggest philosophical difference between FERA and FEMA? FERA, control crime deterrence. FEMA, management compliance facilitation. 642. How should FERA be answered in interviews in one sentence? FERA was a criminal, permission-centric foreign exchange control law based on strict liability and national economic interest. 643. Examiner's favorite oral trap question. Would you personally consider FERA too harsh? Correct approach. Personal opinion irrelevant. Apply legislative intent. 644. Last elimination logic. Interview plus MCQ. Reject any answer suggesting liberal interpretation. Sympathy-based relief. FEMA-style reasoning. 645. Final memory seal. Section 37. FERA punished control violations without excuses. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 38. 646. Is FERA a regulatory offense or a true crime? FERA offenses are regulatory economic crimes, treated as serious public wrongs, not dependent on moral blameworthiness. 647. Does FERA recognize compliance through implied consent? No. Implied consent is unknown to FERA. Permission must be explicit and provable. 648. Can it rely on negative inference from inconsistent stands of the accused? Yes. Shifting explanations strengthen statutory presumptions. Credibility is key in adjudication. 649. Is regret or remorse relevant under FERA? No. Remorse does not negate liability. At best, marginal effect on penalty. 650. Can FERA proceedings survive even if the entity is dissolved? Yes. Liability survives dissolution. Officers and estate can still be proceeded against. 651. Does FERA permit defense of transaction permitted today? No. Law at the time of offense governs. Later liberalization irrelevant. 652. Can it rely on contemporaneous internal emails over later explanations? Yes. Contemporaneous records outweigh post facto justifications. 653. Is proportionality a constitutional limit under FERA? Very narrow. Courts defer to economic policy. Interference only if shockingly arbitrary. 654. Can accused claim no mens rea as complete defense? No. Strict liability regime. Mens rea largely irrelevant. 655. One-line ultimate MCQ elimination rule. If an option relies on intention, sympathy, or later law, eliminate it. 656. Final ultra-short memory hook. FERA permission or prosecution. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, 1973, FAQ Section 39. 657. Is FERA enforcement preventive or punitive in character? Both, but predominantly preventive through deterrent punishment. Aim: stop depletion of foreign exchange. Punishment is a means to prevention. 658. Does FERA treat compliance as optional subject to explanation? No. Compliance is mandatory and non-negotiable. Explanation matters only after contravention is proved. 659. Can it rely on silence plus documents alone to prove contravention? Yes. Silence plus documentary trail is sufficient. Oral denial without proof is meaningless. 660. Is FERA closer to command and control regulation? Yes. Classic command and control statute. Permission-based, restrictive, enforcement-heavy. 661. Can courts dilute FERA because it is repealed? No. Repeal does not soften interpretation. Saved liabilities are enforced with full rigor. 662. One-sentence judicial description of FERA. FERA is a strict economic control statute where legality depends on prior permission and compliance, not intention or equity. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, 1973, FAQ Section 40. 663. Is FERA offense complete on the date of transaction or on detection? On the date of contravention. Detection date is irrelevant for liability. 664. Does later RBI permission validate an earlier illegal act? No. Post facto permission does not cure contravention. 665. Is FERA interpreted like a beneficial legislation? No. It is a restrictive, penal, control statute. 666. Can no loss to India ever save the accused? No. Loss or gain is irrelevant. Control violation alone is enough. 667. Is FERA liability personal, corporate, or both? Both. Company plus persons in charge can be proceeded against simultaneously. 668. Final four-word FERA exam mantra. Permission absent, offense complete. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, 1973, FAQ Section 41. 669. Can equity, fairness, or hardship override an express FERA prohibition? No. Statute prevails over equity. Courts do not soften FERA on sympathetic grounds. 670. Is FERA a law of regulation or prohibition? Primarily prohibition. Regulation exists only through permission mechanism. 671. What matters more under FERA? Explanation or evidence? Evidence. Explanations without documents carry no weight. 672. One-line judicial thumb rule for FERA cases. Where permission is required, absence of proof of permission ends the matter. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 42. 673. Is FERA compliance judged transaction-wise or result-wise? Transaction-wise. Each contravention stands independently. Subsequent correction does not merge violations. 674. Does FERA tolerate procedural compliance without substantive permission? No. Substance, permission, procedure. Filing forms without permission is meaningless. 675. Can it succeed even if prosecution fails due to technical reasons? Yes. Adjudication survives technical failure of prosecution. Independent remedies. 676. Is FERA closer to strict liability or absolute liability? Closer to strict liability. Minimal scope for defense. Limited mitigation only at penalty stage. 677. What single mistake costs maximum marks in FERA answers? Applying FEMA logic to FERA facts. 678. Final examiner psychology rule. If your answer sounds fair, reasonable, or liberal, it is probably wrong under FERA. 679. Ultra-final 3-word memory lock. Permission, proof, prosecution. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 43. 680. Is FERA offense curable by explanation after detection? No. Explanation after detection cannot cure illegality. Only prior permission matters. 681. Does FERA focus on intention, impact, or control? Control. Intention and impact are secondary. Control without permission contravention. 682. Can it rely on cumulative non-compliance to infer deliberate violation? Yes. Repeated or layered lapses strengthen inference. Especially relevant for penalty enhancement. 683. Is FERA compliance binary or proportional? Binary. Either permitted or prohibited. No grey zone of partial legality. 684. Can courts soften FERA due to passage of time? No. Delay does not dilute liability. Saved proceedings continue with full rigor. 685. Ultimate one-line FERA answer for any exam. Under FERA, absence of provable RBI permission itself establishes the offense. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 44. 686. Is FERA violation complete even without mens rea, loss, or gain? Yes. Contravention alone completes the offense. Mens rea, loss, or gain are irrelevant. 687. Can FERA be applied flexibly due to changing economic policy? No. Policy change does not rewrite past law. FERA applies strictly as it stood at the time. 688. Does FERA recognize good faith compliance attempts? No. Attempts without permission are still violations. Good faith may only marginally affect penalty. 689. What outweighs everything else in FERA adjudication? Documentary proof of RBI permission. Without it, explanations collapse. 690. The final eliminator sentence for FERA MCQs. If permission cannot be proved, the answer must go against the accused. 691. Final absolute memory lock. FERA. No permission, no defense. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 45. 692. Under FERA, which single fact most decisively fixes liability? Existence or absence of prior RBI permission. Everything else is secondary. 693. Can sympathetic facts ever neutralize a clear FERA breach? No. Sympathy, hardship, equity irrelevant. Statute is applied as written. 694. In a close MCQ, how should FERA be answered instinctively? Choose the option that is stricter, permission-centric, least reliant on intention or fairness. 695. One-line judicial rule that decides almost every FERA case. Once contravention is shown, the burden shifts and rarely returns. 696. Final FERA memory formula. Permission compliance safety. No permission contravention consequences. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 46. 697. Under FERA, what defeats every defense in one stroke? Failure to produce written RBI permission. Oral claims, conduct, bank routing irrelevant. 698. If facts are unclear but permission is absent, what is the result? Liability follows. Ambiguity in facts does not help the accused. Burden to prove permission is on the accused. 699. One instinctive rule to answer any FERA question in under 3 seconds. Ask only one thing. Is RBI permission proved? If no, offense. If yes, check conditions. If conditions breached, offense. 700. The final one-line FERA truth. FERA punished absence of permission, not presence of intent. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 47. 701. When facts are evenly balanced, who bears the risk under FERA? The accused. Due to reverse burden of proof. Any unresolved doubt operates against the person charged. 702. What single mistake guarantees a wrong answer in FERA questions? Applying criminal law leniency principles, mens rea, benefit of doubt, equity. FERA does not work like IPC. It works on permission plus control. 703. The final, unbreakable FERA rule, ultimate. If RBI permission is not proved beyond doubt, the contravention stands proved. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973, FAQ Section 48. 704. In FERA, what matters more? How the transaction is described or how it operates? How it operates. Courts look at real control and effect, not labels. Substance beats form every time. 705. What single document can instantly end a FERA case in favor of the accused? Valid, prior, unconditional RBI permission covering the exact transaction. Anything less, oral assurance, bank routing, later approval, is insufficient. Subscribe for regular updates and expert content. Knowledge grows when you subscribe. Subscribe to learn something new every day.